All right, let's talk about Packers first round pick Lukas Van Ness, who I think has been really awesome, quite frankly, this preseason. I wasn't a huge fan of him coming out of the draft personally, but I've been blown away, and he could be one of the added to the long list of people I have been wrong about in my pre-draft evaluation because he's looked good so far. Don't just take my word for it. You look at Pro Football Focus. This is the top 5 players of the most recent preseason game, Week 3, defensive players for the Green Bay Packers. You see number 4 highest on the list is Lukas Van Ness. So there you go. Just 12 snaps. Not a ton to talk about, but you know what? There's still some to talk about. So let's talk about what there is to talk about. So we'll start off with this play. He's on the bottom of the screen. He is number 90 here. It's going to be a running play to his direction. So, okay, important, thing he has to do right here. And there's several ways you could take this play, but let's just talk about what happens. Going up one-on-one against the left tackle here. Right when this play begins, though, watch him kind of go to the inside of where that tackle was trying to block, which there is an obvious pro and con to this. The pro is that you are now not getting blocked. Pretty obvious pro. You can get to where you want to get to a lot quicker. The con is in many ways you have kind of taken yourself out of the play as well. So let's take it from the other side. For the halfback, what is the pro and con of Van Ness doing this? The pro for you is that there's a way you can try to run through. There's a clear lane now you have to go through. The con is you absolutely have to go through that one, and you have to go through it right now because there's nothing else you can do. That's what he tries to do, and his teammates help him out. So that's kind of a blowing it up play by Lukas Van Ness. Again, you could argue, hey, maybe I don't want you to try to blow the play up. Just, do your assignment. Make sure that if the running back goes your way, you can make the tackle. You could argue that, but at the same time, in this scenario, it absolutely worked way better than had he just, stayed at where he was at, which would have allowed the halfback to, I'm going to be honest, probably still not get many yards. That was pretty well defended by Green Bay, but maybe he would have had more room and maybe would have found another lane to go through. I don't know. But this play's another interesting one. He was really going for those inside moves, which, one of the criticisms coming out of college was he didn't have a ton of different moves. He didn't have a lot of stuff in his repertoire, but we've seen him try some different stuff this preseason. He is someone who I feel like I've seen him be a better player in the preseason than I saw him, in college. I don't know if I just didn't see it and it was an evaluation error. I don't know if it was him legitimately just getting better. Either way, though, it's exciting if you're a Packers fan. The way this play works, it's a pass play here, and he's going up one-on-one against the left tackle once again. Again, as you see, watch him make that inside move to where the tackle, what can you really do in this position? Not a ton, right? You have the player who you're trying to block completely towards the inside of you. Typically, what you would want to do is have your right hand kind of far over, but he can't really get it over there. Instead, he just falls down. The ball did come out before he was able to get over there, Lukas Van Ness was able to get over there and make a play, so it wasn't a disaster by any means, but it certainly wasn't a great block, and it was a very good defended play by Van Ness. Heading over here, this is going to be another interesting one. It's not a one-on-one matchup exactly here. What they're doing is they're going to run a stunt, where what you do is you have the interior defensive lineman on that side of the field going to run kind of to the right guard's right side of his body, towards the bottom of the screen. And it's worth mentioning as well, the center is blocking on this side of the field. He's blocking towards the bottom of the screen. Every now and then you get lucky with you run this type of concept and the center is blocking towards the other side of the field, meaning that you have a straight shot to the quarterback, the guard is getting taken up, and the center is on the other side of the field. Not happening here, though. However, when this play begins, Van Ness does a pretty good job of doing what he has to do, but really the interior defensive lineman there also doing a very good job of that center is all the way over. So there is a running lane for Van Ness to get through. There absolutely is. And as you see, he does a pretty decent job at getting through that. I think that, it was actually the tackle who kind of came back and was able to try and help make that play. So good job by him to fight through it and get over there. And again, sometimes plays break down, weird things happen. Just find a way to block someone. That's not the worst thing in the world. But it was a really good job, I thought, of the Packers in general running that concept. Again, the reality is if a quarterback is getting rid of the football quickly, it doesn't matter how good your pass rushing, you're not going to be able to get there. there. But at the same time, good stuff from Lukas Van Ness. I also probably should mention, just, goes without saying that you're not exactly going up against the elite of the elite talent here. They're going up against, he's been primarily going up against Jake Curhan. That is the tackle, number 74, that he's been primarily playing against, who was an undrafted free agent from a couple years ago. So, again, who hasn't played much in the NFL. So, just worth mentioning. This play was great, I thought, even though, I don't know how much impact he actually had in it. It still just goes to show what he can do. So he is the edge rusher here, obviously, right? It's going to be just a quarterback sneak. So what are you going to be able to do as an edge rusher on a quarterback sneak? Not much, right? I mean, maybe this is one you just make sure you don't get hurt on, especially in the preseason, right? Well, watch how Van Ness goes, and he really fights to try and make something happen there and try to make a positive play in that one. Really good hustle by Van Ness. And, again, having a high motor player, there is absolute value in that. Having someone who, a play where you're not even sure if he can really have a big impact, seeing him still go all out into preseason to make this stuff happen, NFL coaches love that. That's the kind of thing that they absolutely are huge fans of. So I'm sure Packers, coaches and Packers fans were very happy to see that from him. Also, I thought this play was very good, even though some people might actually disagree, but I think it's a good play, and let's see what happens. So first, to set it up, going to be a design quarterback rollout towards the bottom of the screen, and Van Ness has a tight end who's going to start off blocking him, and then he's going to run a route. That's the way that this play is designed to work. Right off the bat, I think that, they engage and eventually disengage, right? Because both of them have other places to go to. Van Ness should not be playing coverage right here. I think some people might say, shouldn't he stay back with the tight end? No, that's not his assignment. Trust your teammates behind you. Go to the quarterback. That's what you're supposed to do. He's doing the right thing. But also look at how discombobulated the tight end who he was going up against is. This is a great situation because you can't really, be in position to get a ton of yards if the ball comes your way. The ball does eventually come his way, but he had a teammate now. Van Ness had a teammate that was able to come over, make a tackle, good tackle as well. Good job by him. They only gained a yard on that play, largely due to how well Van Ness made the initial contact, but also got the pressure quickly as well. He kind of did both of what he was supposed to do on that play. So again, so far for Van Ness, we've yet to see him have really tough competition. Hasn't played Trent Williams yet. We don't know exactly how he's going to do against these great tackles. That's totally fair to say. But what do we want to see you do when you're going up against bad tackles? We don't want to see you just look all right out there. We want to see you dominate. And so far, that's what he's been doing. So it's impossible to say how good he will be as this continues. We need to see him in the regular season to really get an idea of how good he can be. But the first test here has certainly been passed, in my opinion, for Van Ness. I thought he looked really good out there, in my opinion. But yeah, that's kind of how I view all of this. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. What are your thoughts on Lukas Van Ness and how he played in this game? Always love hearing from y'all. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.